Hey everybody, and welcome to the 20th Weird News Report. Very exciting. Also exciting, this is probably the last episode I'm going to film in this location because in 2.5 weeks I have finals, and then I move out of this room forever, which is kind of sad. You probably don't care though. I probably should be studying right now, to be honest, but instead I'm doing this. This little girl. First of all, remember how Easter was a few days ago? I have a few stories that happened last Easter. Very exciting. This little girl was waiting in line to take her picture with the Easter Bunny. Unfortunate for her, there was a commotion happening nearby. I guess she was in a mall. There was a commotion in a shoe store nearby where the shop owner of the shoe store was ended up firing a gun at suspected shoplifters. Well, one of the bullets ended up hitting this 9-year-old girl. That does seem like a little bit of an overreaction, by the way, to shoot at shoplifters. Maybe I'm missing a little bit of context, but I feel like that's... Anyways, yeah. So this little girl was shot in the arm. And she never got to see the Easter Bunny, so the Easter Bunny did visit her in the hospital, which is, I guess, kind of nice. The weird thing about this is that this is under on this website. This article is under heartwarming news. That's how they categorize this article. I'm not sure if I would call this heartwarming. I would call this kind of sad, mostly. That this little 9-year-old girl got shot, but I guess that's just America for you. Let's move on to our next story. There's a parent that showed up to a elementary school in Texas. This on last Thursday, I guess, and the parent started passing out plastic eggs to elementary school students, some of which contained candy, some of which contained unopened condoms, which is creepy to give to elementary school. Did I mention the parent was dressed as the Easter Bunny? It would be even weirder somehow it would be weirder, I think, if the parent wasn't dressed as the Easter Bunny. Or would it be? I don't know. But yeah, the school ended up asking this parent to leave, but the parent continued to pass out eggs, plastic eggs, on the public sidewalk, some of which I assume still contained unopened condoms. At least they were unopened. You gotta give her that. A little bit creepy. I don't know what use elementary school kids have with condoms. Apparently, the school sent out a letter to parents explaining that this wasn't planned or condoned by the school. So very, very confusing. Let's move on to our next story, which is kind of cool. These two chocolatiers at Cadbury sculpted a little Easter scene out of chocolate. The equivalent of 889 chocolate bars. They have made a giant Easter egg, which is have been carved out to form a little Easter scene, which you can see here. And it's very detailed and impressive. I would imagine that chocolate would be a very cumbersome medium to work with, sculpture-wise. So, I don't even know how they did this, but I am very impressed. It looks very cool. Yeah. Let's move on to our next story, which is not about Easter. That's the end of the Easter news. There was a man from Illinois, although the article says this happened in Wisconsin, so maybe he was in Wisconsin, but he was at the dentist's office, and the dentist told this man that he had just swallowed a what do you call it? He had just swallowed a drill bit, and the man like had not even like felt anything. Like he said, I quote, "I didn't really even feel it down. All I felt was a cough." But then he went on to say, this man who had swallowed this drill bit, when they did the CT scan, they realized you didn't swallow it, you inhaled it. This man inhaled a 1-inch drill bit and had not really even felt it. And this 1-inch drill bit ended up deep in this man's lungs. And they couldn't reach it with their normal equipment. And they said, like, if we can't reach this drill bit, we're going to have to remove part of your lung, which is kind of scary. Luckily, they used a newer device, which is normally used to detect early signs of cancer in lungs. And they were able to use, like, that device to remove the drill bit. So that's kind of exciting. How do you inhale a 1-inch drill bit? There's just... There's so much. That's just like terrifying. This man, he was getting his tooth filled. You're already like having a miserable time getting your tooth filled, and then you have to. All of a sudden, you're just injured because you have inhaled a 1-inch drill bit. Infuriating. Yeah, very sad. Kind of scary. I'm already scared enough of dentists. Why did I even have to read this story? I don't know. Let's move on to our next story. The headline of the story: police come 40 minutes after public masturbator does. That's good. That's a good. It's a good headline. This guy was just in a lawn chair, masturbating and like staring through the window of a hair salon. Oh, and you can see his picture. I'm so uncomfortable. Is that how he was? He was looking like this, into this hair salon. The hair salon obviously called the police. It took the police 40 minutes to arrive, like I said earlier. But by that time, the man had already gone. He had already come and gone. Oh, God. Oh, God. Wow. The nerve of this guy. The gall. To just, like, sit and do that out in the open and just, like, stare at people. I assume he was just, like, staring at people in this hair salon. Very, very weird. Where did this happen? This happened in California. U.S. man wins $450,000 lawsuit after unwanted office birthday party. Yeah, apparently this man specifically said, like, I don't want my birthday to be celebrated in the office because I'll have a panic attack. They ended up throwing him a birthday anyways, and you know what happened? He had a panic attack and had to go to his car. Our next article: U.S. man wins $450,000 lawsuit after unwanted office birthday party. Yeah, so this man specifically said that he did not want his office to celebrate his birthday because he was afraid that he was going to have a panic attack. Well, his office ended up throwing a birthday party for him anyways, and you know what happened? He had a panic attack and had to leave the building. And it said, and apparently this article says that later he was confronted and criticized, this man that had a panic attack, later at a meeting, like the next day. He was at a meeting and he was confronted and criticized, where he was accused of, quote, stealing his coworker's joy and, quote, being a little girl. To which the man then had a second panic attack. Great. And a little while later, the man was then fired. The workplace that he was fired from cited concerns about workplace safety. They were concerned about workplace safety because they had given him panic attacks. I guess like they just like literally don't understand how panic attacks work. But it's like you're not like a danger to anybody if you're having a panic attack. Yeah, apparently it's illegal to fire someone because they have panic attacks. Who would have thought? So luckily he sued this company, and he was awarded $450,000, $300,000 for emotional distress, and $150,000 in lost wages. Yeah. And then apparently after this, like the boss of this company doubles down on their decision. They said, quote, "My employees were the victims in this case, not the plaintiff." I don't know how you could give a person like 2 panic attacks and then fire them because you don't understand panic attacks, and then like you think that they're dangerous, and that you get sued because that's illegal to fire someone because they have panic attacks, and that you still think that you're in the right. Like, I don't even know how that's possible. Some people are just not very smart, I think. Let's move on to our next story. Maryland man with 124 snakes in his house died of snake bite, autopsy finds. 48-year-old man from Maryland had 124 caged snakes in his house, and it's kind of insane. A lot of which were exotic or illegal types of snakes, illegal to own. His collection included rattlesnakes, cobras, black mambas, and a 14-foot-long Burmese python. And one of them is suspected of killing this man. 124 snakes. I feel like that's a lot of snakes. I don't think I've even seen 124 snakes in my life. But you know what? I guess we all have our passions. Some of which are a little more dangerous than others. Ooh, it's our final story of the report. And you guys all know I really like to end the Weird News Report on very, very interesting articles, like the most interesting articles that I can find. And this week doesn't disappoint. Man stacks 7 M&Ms into a tower for Guinness World Record. Yes, this is our third story about the fierce world of M&M stacking. First it was 5 M&Ms, then it was 6 M&Ms, now it's 7 M&Ms. It keeps going. And at first it doesn't seem that impressive, but like everybody always says like, oh, it's actually quite difficult. But like it seems like every couple of months someone just breaks the record, so I don't know how hard it is. And it mentioned the guy that broke this record. He's an Iraqi man named Ibrahim Sadiq. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. But this article did go on to mention that this man had previously earned a world record by balancing 18 eggs on the back of his hand. And I thought, that sounds kind of familiar. And I looked it up, and I realized that we had covered this story before, about this man who had balanced 18 eggs on the back of his hand. We'd already covered this. It's all connected. The M&M stories and the balancing eggs on the back of the hand. It's all connected. I'm so happy that this happened. Well, that's all of the weird news I have for you. So goodbye.